Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial series on creating a dynamic health system. In this video we are going to make the player lose health by the press of a button. At the end of the video the player can lose health and it is optional if this is a random value or not, and you can choose how fast the health depletes and how often it depletes. The first thing that we're going to do is go from the contents file into the third person BP and open the third person character blueprint. You can see that there is already some basic code here. This is just from the template itself. This is the basic running movement, inputs, and the jumping. The first thing that we're going to do is make some public float variables. We're going to do that over here by clicking the add variable. And the first thing that we're going to make is the maximum health of that the player can have. So we're going to call it max health. Then we're going to make the amount of health the player has when he starts to play, which we call starting health. As you can see, even when something is two words, I'm writing it as one word and starting each time with a capital letter. This is just for clear visibility and readability. The next variable we're going to make is the current amount of health the player at that moment, how much he has at that moment, which we're going to call current health. And then at last, we're going to make the amount of health that is going to be taken away by the press of a button. So we're going to call that total health decrease. We're going to make all of these variables public by pressing this little I. What this now does, if we compile it, we can right now see it in here. So if I have max health here, you see this is public. If I don't have the I open, then you won't be able to change it in the editor. We are also going to give each of these variables a tooltip. A tooltip is basically a little tip to describe how to use it and what it does. So for the max health, we are going to say the maximum health, the maximum amount of health of the player can have. For the starting health, we are going to say the amount of health the player starts with. For the current health, we're going to say the current health of the player. And for the total health decrease, we're going to say the total amount of health that is removed for each input. Now, when you have not compiled yet, you may not have seen these values. So make sure that you compile first so you can change it in here. Then we're going to set all these variables. So we're going to set first the max health to 100, the starting health to 70. We're not going to set the current health, but we are going to set the total health decrease to 20. The reason why we're not setting the current health is because we're going to set the current health based on the input. So what we're going to do now is we're going to grab the current health and drag it out, and then we're going to release it by while holding the Alt key. So that sets the current health. We're going to put this on the event begin play. Now, so we're going to click right mouse button and then type begin play. Oh, no. Begin play. There it is. And then we can connect this up. Now, begin play is a function that only plays once when the game starts. Now we're going to grab the starting health and hold, while we drag it out with the left mouse button, we're going to hold Control and then release it again. This gets it. What the difference is between those two is that when you set it, you change the value, and when you get it, you get a reference to the value that is already set. So now we're going to connect those up. So now when we start, the current health is going to be equal to the starting health, and therefore it's going to be 70. And this will only play once. So it will, in the start, it will say 70. Each of these elements is called a node. So I'm going to refer them from now on as nodes as well. So now what we're going to do is look at the event tick. So press right mouse button and write down event tick. There it goes. Now this function is different from the event begin play because this function plays every frame. That means it checks all the code in here every frame. So you want to put as little code as possible on this function, or else your performance will get way worse because your game will go slower and it will run less smoothly and have more frame drops. So from the event tick, we're going to drag out and then release and then say print string and press enter. So what it now is going to do, every frame is going to print hello. So if we compile this and play, you're going to see hello over and over and over again. So now we're going to go back to the current health and drag it in again, and we're going to get it. So we're holding control and then connect this up. What you can see is that we have a little connector node between here that translates it from a float towards something that we can print. So we're going to compile this, play, and now you can see that we're printing every frame 70, which is the current health. So now we are going to actually make the function of or the functionality of the removed health. The first thing that we're going to do is get a key for that. So we're going to say key E, because I want it on the E key. Scroll a bit up to find it, and there it is. Then we're simply gonna set the current health again, and when I release the E key, I'm gonna set the current health value to the current health, so we're gonna get this, minus the total health decrease. So for that, we're gonna drag out from here, type minus, and then float minus float, and connect those two up and connect it to here. So now every time I press, or actually I release the key E, I'm gonna have the current health minus 20. So if I compile and save this, I'm gonna say 70, I'm going to press E, it says 50, press E again, and it says 30. So that works. So now we can make a comment around this by just selecting all of this, press C to comment, and say remove health. That's how we're calling this. The next thing that we're going to do is actually expand this. So we're going to make this a bit larger, select this to move this up. There we go. And we're going to expand it by not making the amount of health be removed instantly, but we're going to make it be removed over time. This later can be made into an animation of some sort, and the health bar is going down up to a certain point. For this part of the functionality, we are going to need 3 more variables. The first one is going to be the current health now. So type in current health now. And we don't have to make it public because we are only going to use it in the code. And a tooltip for this is going to be the health at a specific moment in time. The second is going to be delay before damage. I'm gonna make that public as we're gonna make it public, and we're gonna call a tooltip for this the time before the health decrease over time, with caps, over time is removed. And as you can guess, the third variable is going to be, oh, we can also change it here, by the way, the health decrease over time. And tooltip for this is going to be the amount of health removed for each delay before damage duration. No space here. And compile that. So what we're now going to do, we're going to drag out from released again, and then we're going to type in set health, and then we're going to select the current health now. And as you can see, it creates a little node between those while still keeping the line intact. And we're going to set the current health now to be the current health. Now from here on, we're gonna drag out again and write down delay. Now this, I'm making all of this functionality in the event graph and not in a separate function because we could not have a delay in a function. Now the delay duration is going to be the same as the delay before damage. So we're gonna connect those as well. As you can see, I'm doing everything below it and not in front of it, because otherwise it's going to make it has to be way longer. This way we keep it more compact. Now delay works at it only when the delay time is over, it will do the rest of the code. From here we're going to drag out again and write down branch. Now a branch is simply an if statement. If this condition is true, then do this part of the code. If it's false, do another part of the code. And if this is true, we want to set the current health minus not the health total health decrease, but the health decrease over time. So we're gonna get it and connect it up. Now the last thing that we're going to do, or actually now what we're going to do is connect the current health, so set it back to the delay again. Now you cannot see that it is connected, so we're going to make that a bit more visible by double clicking when we hover over the line, and we're going to drag it. We're going to create a little node or little thing, and we're going to show that it is related. Now as you can see, this is going to get a bit in the way, so we're going to move this a bit up and make sure that it's still separate. Now we're going to set the values. So the delay before damage we're going to set to 0.01, and the health decrease over time we're going to set to 1. So now it does every 0.01 second it's going to remove 1 health. So we're going to check it out if it works. So it's going to say 70. I'm going to press E, and you can see it goes down, but it infinitely goes down right now. Now if I increase the health decrease over time, then it's going to be faster depleted. If I increase the delay before damage, it's going to be less often applied. So I can say 1 here, and then you can see that it goes way slower. So every second now it depletes 1. So if you want to make it smooth, you have to make it higher. If you want to make it more shocky, you have to make it you have to make it higher. Now we're going to make the branch condition. So we're going to make this a bit bigger again. There we go. Make this a bit compact. And the condition we're going to, for this we're going to get the current health. And we want to do that minus the total health decrease. So we're going to hook those up to minus, float minus float. Now this is only a part of it, because right now we're going to drag this a bit down, get the current health again, and use the bigger sign. So float is bigger than this. So the current health has to be bigger than the current health minus the total health decrease. Just make sure that we don't that it doesn't continue to go down after it has reached the total health decrease. So just make sure that it only goes down for a certain amount. So I'm going to hook this up, make this a bit nicer. There we go. And that's that. So let's see if this works. If I now press it, it doesn't work. I actually made a small mistake. We're also going to get the current health now, and we're going to replace that with the current health here. So we're going to use the current health now minus it. So we're going to set it in here, and you're going to look at, hey, is this still, this entire value still bigger than the current health? And then it's going to work. So now if I press E, it's going to only till 50, and then it's done. So if I now set the current health, if I set this to 50, you can see it a bit better. And there we go. The last thing that we're going to do is make the total health decrease value a random number. For this, we're going to need another 3 variables. The first is going to be damage is random value, and this is not going to be a float, this is going to be a boolean. So we're going to go over here, select boolean, and compile it. Now a boolean is basically a true or false. It is often used for branches. And for the tooltip here, we're going to say whether or not the damage is a random value. The second variable is going to be an integer, and this is going to be called minimal random damage. Minimal random damage. So we're going to make that public. We're going to say an integer and leave it at that. Then we can also just copy paste this. We're going to just say duplicate. And then just instead of minimum, we're going to say maximum. Maximum random damage. A tooltip for minimum random damage is going to be the minimal damage that can be done on input. And we're going to copy paste this. So press Ctrl 8 to select all, Ctrl C and Ctrl V in here. And at the beginning, we're going to say yourself minimal, we're going to say maximum. If I spell it correctly, max the, and here as well the. Now what we're going to do right now is we're going to make this a bit bigger, and from the E we're going to drag out and create another branch. We're going to get the damage is a random value, and when this is not the case, so type in not and press enter, not boolean, then we want this to be normal. If that is false, we're going to make this again a bit bigger. Then we want to set the total health decrease before going back to here. Now we're going to set up the total health decrease between these two values. So we're going to both get these, and then drag out from there and write in range. So random integer in range, min and maximum, and then we're gonna convert that to the total health decrease. So let's test it out. We're going to say this is true, and we're going to say the minimum is 5 and the maximum is 20. So now if I compile and play, you can see it's 70. I press it, we remove 7. I press it again, we remove a way more, and every time it is different. You can see that it works. So thank you all for watching and stay healthy.